at the center of it all. Jesus at the center of it all. From beginning to the end, it will always be, it's always been you, Jesus. Yeah, nothing else matters. Nothing in this world will do. Jesus, you're the center. Everything revolves around you. From my heart to the heavens, Jesus be the center. It's all about you. Yes, it's all about you. From my heart to the heavens, Jesus be the center. It's all about you. Yes, it's all about you. Jesus be the center of your church. Jesus be the center of your church. And every knee will bow, and every tongue shall confess you, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. From my heart to the heavens, Jesus be the center. It's all about you. Yes, it's all about you. From my heart to the heavens, Jesus be the center. It's all about you. Yes, it's all about you.
Let's do a quick recap from last week. We talked about unplugging from the world. The Bible says, love not the world. Neither things are in the world. If any man loves the world, love of the Father is not in him. In this passage, you see two types of love. The first type of love is a self-centered love. It's a love that's based more so about selfish desires. When it talks about the world, it's not talking about the earth, it's not talking about trees, it's not talking about animals, it's not talking about those things. When the Bible talks about the world, it's talking about society. It talks about this system that was designed by Satan himself. He's talking about this world with its worldviews and ideologies. It's talking about all the different things that encompasses this world system that causes us to be so inclined to fall into our sins, a system that's more so tailored to our lust and our pride. That's the world he's talking about. When he talks about love, none of the things in the world, he's talking about be very careful that you don't be overly consumed with the various things in our world. Don't be overly consumed with relationships. Don't be overly consumed with sex and its pleasures. Don't be overly consumed with any of these various things, because when you become overly consumed with them things, it causes that selfish desire inside of your heart to overload to a place where now you become so in love with these different things that those things become your idols. Each and every one of us is plugged into something. Each and every one of us have a source. I bet you if I ask everybody in this room, the first thing they'll say is God is my source, that God is my number one. But if I really looked at your life, if I was the fly on your wall, if I was really analyzing every aspect of your life, chances are God is probably not number one. We live in a society where we're overly consumed with any and everything but God himself. We like to say in our little church gatherings and our little Christian little go-get-tos and meetings and mixes and stuff, we like to act like we got God number one, but our lifestyles don't match our declaration. How many of y'all, if I was to ask you how much time you spent with God this week, how many of y'all can calculate within less than 30 minutes that you spent with him this week? We have to ask ourselves daily, examine ourselves daily to make sure that our lives are not overly consumed in this world. Let's look at Romans. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world. We look at the word conform. Conform means to adapt to fix my life to. That something outside of myself is pressuring me to be conformed to this ideology, to be conformed to this world system, to be conformed to any and everything except for God. Each and every one of us, we have to be very careful, because there's something that's molding us. There's something that's luring us. There's something that's trying to conform us. And if we're not careful, if we're not prone to see these different things, then we're going to be emulating the very things that we're conformed by. I have this quote that I say, you are a direct reflection of your influences. many of us are copying something? How many of us are direct reflections of any and everything but who God created us to be? God didn't create you to be like the Joneses. He didn't create you to be like Wayne. He didn't create you to be like anybody on Desperate Housewives or Hip Hop Wives. He didn't tailor you to be anything but yourself. That's why if you look at your thumbprint, you're the only one since mankind was even conceived on this planet with that thumbprint. This God knows the hair on your head. This God knows every detail about yourself. He said, I created you as an original. I didn't create you to be so caught up in the influence of society. I didn't create you to be overly consumed with any and everything that influences you to become something that you were not created to be. Let's look at the definition of influence. We're going to talk about these three I's: influence, interest, and intimacy. Let's look at influence. Influence, by definition, is something or someone who has the capacity to alter your behavior or character. Influence, the capacity. That means something in my life has the capacity to alter my behavior and my character. That's what your influence is. The music that we listen to, the movies that we watch, the different things that we connect our lives to, if we allow these influences to be so strong in our lives, then all of a sudden it'll alter our behavior. It'll alter our character. That's why character is not what you do in front of me. Character is not what you do in front of all the people that you idolize or accept. Character is what you do by yourself. Character and your behavior is what's the things that God's going to judge. God don't care about the results of your actions. He don't care how good you pay your homage to people. He don't care about how good you are in society. He don't care about all those different things. He cares about your motives. He cares about the very reasons why you do what you do. Society has painted such a huge. That's why if I was Barbara, was it Barbara White? Was that her interview people? Barbara Walters, man. Barbara Walters. If I was any type of CNN analyst and I interview Satan, I'd give him a hand five. I'd clap. I said, Satan, you're a genius. Satan ain't stupid. You look at this system that surrounds you. Each and every one of us is probably more influenced by the negative than we are the positive. If we look at the deceptions that our minds are so wrapped around, we're more influenced by mainstream than we do the mainstream. If you caught that. That's why you have to be very careful, man, because if you don't know what you're plugged into, if you don't know what the main sources of your life is, then you become so much like that influence to the point that when you stand before God, God's going to say, there's none of me inside of you. That you chose to be like that person. You chose to follow this ideology. You decided to develop this type of worldview to the point to where there's none of me inside of you. That's why it says be very careful. Don't be conformed to this world. What the Bible's saying, and he's saying, even though you're a Christian, even though you say you saved, there's still a high chance for you to be conformed to this world system. Let's look at transform. First off, let me go back. Influence, when I say influence, is the capacity, anything that has the capacity to alter your behavior and your character. When I look at influence, if you look at your own personal life, the top 5 things that influence you the most, like I said before, is your direct reflection of who you are. Influence automatically leads to interest. That's why the devil understands if I can paint a society so vivid, so clear, so intriguing, because the human heart is so curious. If I can tailor to the curiosity to this world, you want to know what's perfect in the eyes of God. How many of us don't even know what we're called to do because we're so conformed to this world? How many of us, if I was to ask you blatant in front of everybody what you're here to do and what's your purpose, none of y'all can probably give me an answer. Probably give me something vague. Give me something so broad. Oh, well, I went to school for this, and I guess I'm going to be an engineer. I guess I'm going to do this. But many of us, we look at the money. Oh, well, you know, banking makes money. Business management makes money, but you got a passion for art. Oh, you know what? This makes more money, but you got a passion for spoken word. Oh, but this makes more money, but God gave you that unique passion for this. God ain't going to judge you based upon how much money you made as an accountant. He ain't going to judge you based upon how successful you was in your business venture. He's going to say, where's my poems? Where's my books? Where's my music? Where's my CD? God don't give a flip about that stuff because the world says, follow this path, go to college, pick this degree, do this. And we put all of our creative things to the side because that doesn't make no money. I wrote that book. God told me to my face. He didn't come to my face. He told me, it felt like it was in my face. If you don't write that book, someone else will. If you don't have the balls enough to go start this ministry, somebody else will. If you don't want to do it, I'll get somebody else. God don't care. He don't care if you waste time. He'll find somebody else. That's why you can't be so caught up in these influences that got you so manipulated, so deceived, to the point where you're doing any and everything but what you call to do. Number two, you won't even be able to decipher what's good and evil. Society says sex is outside of marriage is good. God says wait till marriage. Society says go get your money, make it rain, do all this type of stuff. God says be a good steward over money. We look at the good as bad. Well, you know what? I don't want to wait till I get married because society says it's okay to sleep around. I don't want to be caught up on what the godly principles are. I want to do what I want to do. When you get to a place where you're so deceived that you don't know what good and evil is, I have to analyze whether or not you're saved or not. Because if God really gripped your heart, if you really love God the way you say you do, you wouldn't love the sins that you do. You wouldn't. You wouldn't be overly indulged with that stuff because anyone in a relationship, anyone that's married, faithfulness is not proven by how faithful you are with a person. It's based on how faithful you are when your wife is at home. Faithfulness is not tested by, oh, baby, I love you and got roses and you I bring money to the house, I make the lights come on and stuff like that. Faithfulness is based upon the girl that you interact at the mall that you know that's not your wife. See, God don't care about how faithful you look before the other church folks. He don't care about that. He says how faithful you are when you by yourself. How faithful you are when you outside of that bubble. How faithful you are to me when it comes to everything and anything that I say I want you to do. It's a relationship. That's why I don't do that with religion stuff. Religion is based upon I gotta work for my righteousness. I gotta dance for God. I gotta make God I gotta work for that. Relationship saying it's a little bit deeper. Relationship says faithfulness. Relationship says commitment. That's why he said it's spiritual adultery when you sit there and love on your other idols and you get so caught up on any and everything that's not of God. That's why God is a jealous God. He has the right to. Your boyfriend, your boo, your cousin, your boss man can't put air in your lungs. Only God can. That's why we have to be very careful that we don't allow our peer group, the people that's closest to us, the people that surrounds us to have us so insecure that we don't be able to follow the things of God. What else I'm going to talk about? Thank you. Influence. I know. Can I start from getting right back? All right, influence. The things that we predominantly listen to, the things that we predominantly watch, like the things we predominantly listen to is what we listen to. If we listen to Wayne, we listen to rap, and we listen to all these music I'm not saying all music is bad, but we listen to things that really, like music is not just music. It's something deeper that comes with music.
Right.
If you know your stuff, this is demonic stuff. We talking about witches back in the African days, back in years ago, knew how to put witch spells in their music. They know how to do all that stuff to cause your body to become so numb that it alters your subconscious mind. To the point to where now you got little girls dancing certain ways. Now you got people doing whose behavior has been altered from the influence of their music. What about the shows that we watch? If we look at society, we watch all these reality shows. We watch people who got famous for nothing. We watch all these people's lives, and they alter the way we live. You see what I'm saying? Now we got all these different friends. Now we say, okay, by my pursuit of popularity, my pursuit of needing to be accepted, now I got to have friends. And now these friends are the ones altering my behavior, my character. These main influences always spark interest. Once the influences come in life and spark interest, you become in love with it. You need it. When they first started with pornography, when they first started sleeping around, when they first started doing drugs, when they first started all these different things, they didn't have no interest in the beginning. Nobody came out the womb saying, hey, I'm going to be gay. No one came out despite what popular people believe. No one jumped out the womb saying, I want to sleep around. Nobody jumped out the womb saying all these different things. Something influenced them. If you look at your life, what conceived your interest? What in your life conceived your interest? Because the devil knows if I can get you so interested in it, if I can get you so in love with it, then you'll make that very thing your God. Because whatever your God is determines how much you spend your money, it determines how much time you spend, it determines how much energy you spend, because these different things is your God. What are you in love with today? What are you intimate with today? What are your main influences? And what's sparking your interest?
When the world turns blue. Look, I rock the double rosary cause I got double foes opposing me. Sometimes it's hard to deal with the fact that my God has chosen me. Supposedly the real is back, the fake gon' have to deal with that. I like to get an order of substance and add some skill with that. Caps is still peeling back, cats is still dealing crack, walking around with chips on their shoulders and getting killed with that. To one man it's a nightmare, but the next man is living that. A couple cats make it out the hood, most ain't giving back. Past the preacher smelling like that marijuana aroma, shorted body developing early. The whole hood wanna on a cell phone, texting late at night. Some dude is twice her age, he ready to give her the pipe. I hate it, but you's a fool if you ignore it or debate it. It's not the cats isn't learning, they just miseducated. Ask people how they doing, they say I'm just trying to make it. They say they starving, I left them food for thought. You think they ate it?